Alright, we're going to try to do some spiling on the on these boards going on the bulkhead up here. I'm in my boat. I hope you can see this. Okay, so we got some boards here that are coming up, and the trick is to try to figure out how to get these cut so that they'll go up even with the frames up there. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a board down here to where it's not long enough to get over to the edges. I'm just kind of clamping it off here so it doesn't move. And then I'm taking another board that's the same thickness and the same width and putting it on. I'll move this clamp. Putting it on here like this, and then sliding over until I get to where it runs into the side over here. Now the point of that is that I can measure that distance and put a little pencil mark right here. And so I know how much longer it needs to be, and that's at the longest point. Then I come over to the other side, and you're probably not going to be able to see what I'm doing here because I'm in the way. So I can move. And I do the same thing over here. And I got to move the clamp again. And we come over there. Now I still got this mark on the board here, and now this board one's here. Now I know exactly how long this board needs to be at its longest point, which is the top of where I'm going to make my cut. Now the other thing I can do is now I can move this board, the bottom one that I got clamped, and move it over until it gets all the way over there. And then I can mark that one right here. And now I know what my angle is going to be on that side. And I'm going to write starboard on this so I remember. I'm going to do the same thing. Just move this all the way over here to where it's touching the edge, and then put this one on here and move it over. And now I know that that's the other marks right there. Now I'll take it over on a piece of longer stock and first of all cut out a length, and then we'll cut our angle on that other piece. Try to get that set up, and then we'll see if we can videotape that. Okay, this is going to be pretty close work, but I'm going to try to back up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, my workbench is a freaking mess, but you can see all that stock over there. Well, I pulled one of those off. These are about 4 feet long, and it's cedar. And I found a really nice board at Lowe's, and just pretty much knot free. And whenever I see one like that, I pretty much just buy it whether I need it or not, because you don't find them all that often. And this one was just beautiful. I believe this was a 2x6. And I split it in two and then ran it through the table saw and ripped out all these boards. And I've got, I don't know, there's probably 7 or 8 still over there. And I don't know how well you could see in here. I've already put some down here to build this bulkhead on the front here. Now there's those 2 rectangles in there that we're going to have to cut around because those are going to be hatch doors. But so far so good. Now, so anyway, so I've got this big long stock, which I'm not going to need this whole thing. Now, I have my 2 boards that I had in the boat with me when I was measuring. And so this is the one that I was sliding across the top. This is the one that was clamped down. And so what I did is I take it, I just put it on here to try to figure out exactly how long this piece is going to be, because that's way too long. That'll never fit in there. I've got to cut it off. So then you take this board, and I had this mark here, and that was however much more I needed to get to the longest point. So I put that right up on the stock that I'm going to cut and scoot that over to where it's just right, and I made a little mark on the down on the side of that one. Then I also know that this is the mark for my angle here, so I put another little mark on that down there. So you can see, now this is my stock that I'm going to cut. So this is one end of it. That will be the port side. Now, I got to take this board and come back over on the other side. So we know that that is the other mark that I made right here was on the end of this. So we know now the board has got to be this long. So we're going to take a pencil and mark that. And I already went ahead and marked this here. And so once this is cut off, that'll be my angle to go on the starboard side. And I've got a little mark here, so I know what I'm doing on that one. So I know it's the right length. The only trick is you just got to make sure that you don't let the board move. So see, that one's still lined up with that pencil mark. And now this spiling board basically tells me how much longer it's got to be. So I don't know what I do with my pencil. So we're going to mark that off right there. And then we'll cut that off, and I've got my mark here, and then once we get that cut off, and we'll take it to the bandsaw and cut the whole thing off. Then I'm going to go back with the tape measure and just measure roughly what I think it should be inside there before I cut this, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I cut it to length, and I've got it in there. Now I'm not sure about my angles, and I haven't cut those yet. I'm going to remeasure, but what I do know is that, see, it's resting on top of that other board that I was using for spiling. So what is at the bottoms and touching the edge of the boat against the frame over here, that's actually the top of it. So that board that's down there is just temporary. That's not going to be there at all. It's just holding it up there to make sure that it's long enough for how long it needs to be at its longest point. Because it's actually, once I cut the angles off, it's going to sit down there where that other little board below it is. That board's not fastened on at all. So it looks good. I think it's long enough. Now I'm going to double check the angles, and then we'll cut those. Okay, I got it cut. Now it's just sitting in there. But I did go and remeasure, and I'm pretty happy with it. You can see here, I'm pretty much right up against the sides there, and then on the other side over there, I remeasured it because it wasn't the same on both ends, and I figured it should be pretty symmetrical, so I remeasured it, and I went in just a little bit, and I think, I don't know if it'll focus good enough or not. You still see my other line over there? I would have cut off too much. Measure twice. Now the other thing about this is that it's too tall where the hatch doors go. So I'm going to have to cut those out, but that's going to be easy because I'm just going to clamp that up there and then come down behind here, and we'll just draw lines against the boards down here and up against that framework and cut those out. That's basically it. That's how we're gonna make all these boards. Well, there's the deadwood. I got that painted last night, and the holes are drilled in it. We're getting ready to put that in. We'll leave that for another episode. It's coming out okay.